Hello everyone, thank you for joining me for the reading of the study I did on Psalm 24 verse 7. Psalm 24 verse 7 says, "Lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in." According to dictionary.com, lift says to move or bring something upward from the ground or other support to a higher position, hoist. We get a word lift from the main verse which says, "Lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in." If we place the definition of lift in the main verse, we get move or bring your heads upward from the ground or other support to a higher position, hoist, O you gates, and be moved or brought of everlasting doors upward from the ground or other support to a higher position, hoist, and the King of glory shall come in. According to dictionary.com, head says that part of anything that forms or is regarded as forming the top, summit, or upper end. We get a word heads from the main verse which says, "Lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in." If we place the definition of heads in the main verse, we get lift up that part of anything that forms or is regarded as forming the top, summit, or upper end, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. According to dictionary.com, gate says a movable barrier usually on hinges, closing and opening in a fence, wall, or other enclosure. We get the word gates from the main verse which says, "Lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in." If we place the definition of gates in the main verse, we get lift up your heads, O you movable barriers, usually on hinges, closing and opening in a fence, wall, or other enclosure, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. According to dictionary.com, hinges says a jointed device or flexible piece on which a door, gate, shutter, lid, or other attached part turns, swings, or moves. We get a word hinges from the definition of the word gates, which says a movable barrier, usually on hinges, closing and opening in a fence, wall, or other enclosure. If we place the definition of hinges in the definition of gates, we get a movable barrier, usually on jointed devices or flexible pieces on which a door, gate, shutter, lid, or other attached part turns, swings, or moves, closing and opening in a fence, wall, or other enclosure. According to dictionary.com, flexible says capable of being bent, usually without breaking, easily bent. We get a word flexible from the definition of the word hinges, which says a jointed device or flexible piece on which a door, gate, shutter, lid, or other attached part turns, swings, or moves. If we replace the definition of flexible in the definition of the word hinges, we get a jointed device or capable of being bent, usually without breaking, easy bent piece on which a door, gate, shutter, lid, or other attached part turns, swings, or moves. According to dictionary.com, shutter says a solid or louvered movable cover for a window. We get the word shutter from the definition of the word hinges, which says a jointed device or flexible piece on which a door, gate, shutter, lid, or other attached part turns, swings, or moves. If we place the definition of shutter in the definition of hinges, we get a jointed device or flexible piece on which a door, gate, solid or louvered movable cover for a window, lid, or other attached part turns, swings, or moves. According to dictionary.com, louvered says any of a series of narrow openings framed at their longer edges with slanting, overlapping fins or slats, adjustable for admitting light and air while shutting out rain. We get a word louvered from the definition of the word shutter, which says a solid or louvered movable cover for a window. If we place the definition of louvered in the definition of shutter, we get a solid or any of a series of narrow openings framed at the longer edges with slanting, overlapping fins or slats, adjustable for admitting light and air while shutting out rain. Movable cover for a window. According to dictionary.com, slanting says to veer or angle away from a given level or line, especially from a horizontal slope. You get a word slanting from a definition of the word louvered, which says any of a series of narrow openings framed at their longer edges with slanting, overlapping fins or slats, adjustable for admitting light and air while shutting out rain. If we play the definition of slanting in the definition of louvered, we get any of a series of narrow openings framed at their longer edges with veering or angling away from a given level or line, especially from a horizontal slope, overlapping fins or slats, adjustable for admitting light and air while shutting out rain. According to dictionary.com, veer says to change direction or turn about or aside, shift, turn or change from one course, position, inclination, etc. to another. We get a word veer from the definition of the word slanting, which says to veer or angle away from a given level or line, especially from a horizontal slope. If we place the definition of veer in the definition of slanting, we get to change direction or turn about or aside, shift, turn or change from one course, position, inclination, etc. to another, or angle away from a given level or line, especially from a horizontal slope. According to dictionary.com, inclination says a tendency toward a certain condition, action, etc. We get the word inclination from a definition of the word veer, which says to change direction or turn about or aside, shift, turn or change from one course, position, inclination, etc. to another. If we place the definition of inclination in the definition of veer, we get to change direction or turn about or aside, shift, turn or change from one course, position, tendency toward a certain condition, action, etc. to another. According to dictionary.com, slat says a long, thin, narrow strip of wood, metal, etc. used as a support for a bed as one of the horizontal lats of a Venetian blind, etc. We get a word slat from the definition of the word louvered, which says any of a series of narrow openings framed at their longer edges with slanting, overlapping fins or slats, adjustable for admitting light and air while shutting out rain. If we replace the definition of slats in the definition of louvered, we get any of a series of narrow openings framed at their longer edges with slant, overlapping fins, or long, thin, narrow strips of wood, metal, etc. used as a support for a bed as one of the horizontal lats of a Venetian blind, etc. adjustable for admitting light and air while shutting out rain. According to dictionary.com, Venetian blind says a blind as per a window having overlapping horizontal slats that may be opened or closed, especially one in which the slats may be raised and drawn together above the window by pulling a cord. We get the word Venetian blind from the definition of word slats, which says a long, thin, narrow strip of wood, metal, etc. used as a support for a bed as one of the horizontal lats of a Venetian blind, etc. If we place the definition of Venetian blind in the definition of slats, we get a long, thin, narrow strip of wood, metal, etc. used as a support for a bed as one of the horizontal lats of a blind as for a window having overlapping horizontal slats that may be opened or closed, especially one in which the slats may be raised and drawn together above the window by pulling a cord, etc. According to dictionary.com, enclosure says a tract of land surrounded by a fence. We get the word enclosure from the definition of the word gates, which says a movable barrier usually on hinges closing and opening in a fence, wall, or other enclosure. If we place the definition of enclosure in the definition of gates, we get a movable barrier usually on hinges closing and opening in a fence, wall, or other tract of land surrounded by a fence. According to dictionary.com, King says God or Christ. We get a word king from the main verse, which says, lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. If we play the definition of king in the main verse, we get, lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the God or Christ of glory shall come in. According to dictionary.com, glory says very great praise, honor, or distinction bestowed by common consent, renown. We get the word glory from the main verse, which says, lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. If we place the definition of glory in the main verse, we get, lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of very great praise, honor, or distinction bestowed by common consent, renown, shall come in. According to dictionary.com, distinction says condition of being different, difference. We get a word distinction from the definition of the word glory, which says very great praise, honor, or distinction bestowed by common consent, renown. If we play a definition of distinction in a definition of glory, we get very great praise, honor, or condition of being different, difference bestowed by common consent, renown. According to dictionary.com, bestow says to present as a gift, give, confer, usually followed by on or upon. We get a word bestowed from a definition of the word glory, which says very great praise, honor, or distinction bestowed by common consent, renown. If we replace the definition of bestowed in the definition of glory, we get very great praise, honor, or distinction presented as a gift, give, conferred, usually followed by on or upon, by common consent, renown. According to dictionary.com, confer says to consult together, compare opinions, carry on a discussion or deliberation. We get the word confer from the definition of the word bestowed, which says to present as a gift, give, confer, usually followed by on or upon. If we place the definition of confer in the definition of bestowed, we get to present as a gift, give, consult together, compare opinions, carry on a discussion or deliberation, usually followed by on or upon. According to dictionary.com, consult says to seek advice or information from, ask guidance from. We get a word consult from the definition of the word confer, which says to consult together, compare opinions, carry on a discussion or deliberation. If we replace the definition of consult in the definition of confer, we get to seek advice or information from, ask guidance from, together, compare opinions, carry on a discussion or deliberation. According to dictionary.com, seek says to go in search or quest of. We get a word seek from the definition of the word consult, which says to seek advice or information from, ask guidance from. If we place the definition of seek in the definition of consult, we get to go in search or quest of advice or information from, ask guidance from. According to dictionary.com, deliberation says careful consideration before decision. We get a word deliberation from the definition of the word confer, which says to consult together, compare opinions, carry on a discussion or deliberation. If we place the definition of deliberation in the definition of confer, we get to consult together, compare opinions, carry on a discussion or careful consideration before decision. According to dictionary.com, consent says to permit, approve, or agree, comply, or yield, often followed by to or an infinitive. We get a word consent from the definition of the word glory, which says very great praise, honor, or distinction bestowed by common consent, renown. If we place the definition of consent in the definition of glory, we get very great praise, honor, or distinction bestowed by common permission, approval, or agreement, comply, or yield, often followed by to or an infinitive, renown. According to dictionary.com, infinitive says a verb form found in many languages that functions as a noun or is used with auxiliary verbs and that names the action or state without specifying a subject, as French venir, to come, Latin esse, to be, fusa, to have been. We get a word infinitive from the definition of the word consent, which says to permit, approve, or agree, comply, or yield, often followed by to or an infinitive. If we play the definition of infinitive in the definition of consent, we get to permit, approve or agree, comply or yield, often followed by to or a verb form found in many languages that functions as a noun or is used with auxiliary verbs and that names the action or state without specifying the subject, as French venir to come, Latin esse to be, fusa to have been. According to dictionary.com, auxiliary says additional, supplementary, reserve. We get a word auxiliary from the definition of the word infinitive, which says a verb form found in many languages that functions as a noun or is used with auxiliary verbs and that names the action or state without specifying a subject, as French venir to come, Latin esse to be, fusa to have been. If we play the definition of auxiliary in a definition of infinitive, we get a verb form found in many languages that functions as a noun or is used with additional, supplementary, reserved verbs and that names the action or state without specifying a subject, as French venir to come, Latin esse to be, fusa to have been. According to dictionary.com, supplementary says forming or acting as a supplement. We get a word supplementary from the definition of the word auxiliary, which says additional, supplementary, reserve. If we replace the definition of the word supplementary in the definition of the word auxiliary, we get additional, forming or acting as a supplement, reserve. According to dictionary.com, supplement says something added to complete a thing, supply a deficiency, or reinforce or extend a whole. We get the word supplement from the definition of the word supplementary, which says forming or acting as a supplement. If we replace the definition of supplement in the definition of supplementary, we get forming or acting as something added to complete a thing, supply a deficiency, or reinforce or extend a whole. According to dictionary.com, renown says widespread and high repute, fame. We get the word renown from the definition of the word glory, which says very great praise, honor, or distinction bestowed by common consent, renown. If we replace the definition of renown in the definition of glory, we get very great praise, honor, or distinction bestowed by common consent, widespread and high repute, fame. Revelation. Move or bring that part of anything that forms or is regarded as forming the top, summit, or upper end upward from the ground or other support to a higher position, hoist, or immovable barriers, usually on jointed devices or pieces capable of being bent, usually without break, easily bent, on which a door, gate, solid, or any of a series of narrow openings framed at their longer edges will change direction or turn about or aside, shifted, turned, or change from one course, position, tendency toward a certain condition, action, etc., to another, or angle away from a given level or line, especially from a horizontal slope, overlapping frames, or long, thin, narrow strips of wood, metal, etc., used as a support for a bed, as one of the horizontal slats of a blind, as for a window, having overlapping horizontal slats that may be open or closed, especially one in which the slats may be raised and joined together above the window by pulling a cord, etc., adjustable for admitting light and air while shutting out rain, movable cover for a window, lid or other attached part, turns, swings or moves, closing and opening in a fence, wall or other tract of land surrounded by a fence. Revelation is continued on the next slide. And be moved or brought of everlasting doors upward from the ground or other support to a higher position, hoist. And God or Christ of very great praise, honor, or condition of being difference, presented as a gift, give, go in search or quest of advice or information from, ask guidance from, together, compare opinions, carry on a discussion or careful consideration before decision, usually followed by on or upon, by common permission, approval, or agreement, comply or yield, often followed by to or a verb form found in many languages that functions as a noun or is used with additional, forming or acting as something added to complete a thing, supply a deficiency, or reinforce or extend a whole, reserve verbs, and that names the action or state without specifying the subject, as French venir to come, Latin esse to be, fusa to have been, widespread and high repute, fame shall come in. Application. Move or bring that part of anything that forms or is regarded as from the top upward from the ground to a higher position, or use movable barriers, usually on jointed devices on which a door, gate, solid, or any series of narrow openings framed at their longer edges will change direction from one course position, tendency toward a certain condition, action, etc., to another, or angle away from a given level, especially from a horizontal slope, overlapping frames or long thin narrow strips of wood, metal, etc., used as a support for a bed, movable cover for a window, lid, or other attached patterns, swings, or moves, closing and opening in a fence, wall, or other tract of land surrounded by a fence, and be moved or brought of everlasting doors upward from the ground to a higher position, and God or Christ of very great praise, honor, or condition of being different, present as a gift, going in search of advice together, compare opinions, carry on a discussion by common permission, approval, or agreement, widespread and high repute shall come in. Thank you for joining me for the reading of a study I did on Psalm 24 verse 7. Have a blessed day. Bye.